Hello, hello. Melissa Carter, writer, publisher, Wang and Dude Publishing. How are you? I thought I would do a video of just reflecting upon what the last 2 years have done, because I think I mentioned this in a video before, where when I was in morning radio, there was a producer we had who said, once we got popular, she was like, I wish we had just kind of stopped and realized what we had done and appreciated what we had done before the next chapter, where things tended to move a lot faster. And so I wanted to do that now, because here we are on, we're about to release the book. Now it's a soft launch. And I say that because, the schedule kind of I got behind, especially with doing the audiobook. And so I didn't really have a chance to plan any book signings or any big launch parties or anything like that. But it was important for me to have the book be released on my mother's birthday. Anywhere the book is, promoted or for sale, usually it'll have a publication date. And I just didn't want to delay the publication of the book in order to have a party so it doesn't have mom's birthday stamped on it. So that's the reason that I'm going ahead and publishing the book. But I'm just like, I still have some books that I'm sending to media people. And I'm sending that out about the time of the launch, where I would have preferred to have these out a little earlier, but you know what? It's all good. I recently was a part of a wedding of a dear friend, and my son was there with me during the rehearsal, and it really imprinted upon him when the pastor said to the couple, because he could tell they were nervous, and said, look, it doesn't matter if somebody falls on their face. It doesn't matter if somebody, whatever, like the music isn't right or the vowels are messed up. He said the point is you'll still be married tomorrow, and regardless of what happens, you're still gonna get married, and that's the point of all this, is for y'all to be a couple. And so my son, really, that resonated with him, right? The fact that it doesn't matter what happens, you're gonna achieve your goal. And so that's how I feel now about the book, is like, all these things, all these hiccups, the fact that certain parts of Amazon refuse to sell my book. There's different hiccups that have happened. I didn't have a launch party. I'm getting some of the press stuff out just as the book is being launched, not on my schedule. But you know what? I have to stop here and realize I wrote a book. I'm publishing a book. I got it completed. When I started this process, it was just an idea. It was an experiment. Here's Shadow. It was just an experiment, and here it is coming to fruition. And I said, if nobody buys the book, at least it's something my son will have to know more about his mother when he's older. Maybe he wants to know more about my life. But people have bought the book already. So I have to stop and realize what a big deal that is. And so I guess that's the message here, is whatever it is in your life, you got to stop and realize what a big deal it is that you've done some of the things you've done. Something else I saw, I'm sure it's a quote or some conversation, but it was during the wedding, and it was basically, you're now, what you're doing now, a lot of it is what you dreamed about years ago. Even if it's just as a kid, you dreamt about being an adult, making your own decisions. Well, guess what? Here you are. This may not be as fun as you thought it might be, but here I am, healthy and happy, which was a dream when I was on dialysis. When we were trying to get pregnant and using IVF and having a lot of missteps with that and losing a lot of the embryos, now my son is about to finish the fourth grade. And that's a dream of, the girls that wanted to have a child. So anyway, not to sit here and cry, but it's just, sometimes in life, you have to sit and remember that this is what you wanted. At least part of your life is what you dreamed about. And now you're fulfilling it. And so it was always a dream of mine to write a book. And it's about to be launched. It's about to be available. It's about to be read by people. My story is going to be read by total strangers. And so in the book, I talk about my illnesses over my life. So the kidney transplant is not the only thing when it comes to health that I've had to deal with. And so I have been sick since I was 7. And so just, you know, thinking about the little kid, I'm trying not to cry. The thing about the little kid who was in pain, who someday would have total strangers read about her story and maybe have some kind of reaction to it, is a dream come true. And so I guess, it is also May, as as I'm recording this and releasing this, May of 2025. And for those who are parents, May is a ridiculously busy time of year, because of school and things that happen at the end of school. And so, you know, that's when you can get caught up in all the things in your life that you're trying to accomplish. And even if you don't have kids, may be a crazy time for you because you're trying to get stuff done before you go on vacation. But regardless, you have to stop. And so, the old term, stop and smell the roses. Well, that is something that you have to do. You have to stop and realize, look what you've accomplished. Look what you've accomplished. And look what I'm about to accomplish. It's amazing. So that's why I wanted to do a quick video. And now that I'm getting older, middle aged, it's so weird. It's weird. I will say, if you're younger, it is odd to grow older, because now I realize you see it coming, but then when it happens, you don't see it coming because inside you still feel the same. So it's like you look in the mirror and go, wait a second, that's not that's not what I looked like, or that's not what I look like. But as I get older, I was having a conversation with someone else, and we were talking about how some people don't respond to challenges in their life as well as others, and what's the difference. And especially when you're older and you are starting to have challenges with your own body, that is just completely, for a lot of people, completely just out of the blue or out of the ordinary, or something they just don't recognize. And we came up with the conclusion that it's having goals. That if you have a goal, that even if you don't survive whatever it is that you're dealing with, let's say you have a terminal illness, which I have never had, so I cannot, I wouldn't even begin to relate to that. But I have witnessed those who have had terminal illnesses. And I just think the difference with that, with a chronic illness, even if you don't have an illness, it's just struggles. If there is a goal to achieve, I'm going to get to this point before the end. I'm going to get to this point to reach beyond what I'm going through now. That's the difference, is having a goal. And my mother would say that having a goal to achieve always makes life a little more, well, I'm sure tolerable, but also enjoyable, because you don't sit and think too much about what you're going through. And so the book has been my goal. My son is my goal. Seeing my grandchildren, if I have the, if I have the opportunity to meet my grandchildren, that's my goal. To be alive, to see them, as something that was certainly not promised to me. It's still not guaranteed, but my gosh, what a miracle that would be. And so anyway, I did not intend to tear up through this video, but it's just to remind you, look at what you've accomplished and stop for a second and see that. And remember what you wanted when you were younger. And if you have it, then, you can't complain, because then you're disrespecting your younger self, right? So anyway, the book is coming out on the 26th. As I'm recording this, I'm finishing mailing these things out. I'm finishing everything by the 26th. And then I'm enjoying the summer with my son. And I'm going to walk away and reflect on what I've done, spend time with my son, and then be back in the fall ready to really push and promote the book. So thank you so much for all your support. And if you have missed any of the videos, there's some interesting videos. If you are thinking about writing your own book, there's plenty of resources that I share. And, and I had promised in some of the earlier videos, total cost of everything. I've not forgotten about that. I just have to, I just have to settle everything and figure out what that was because now it includes postage. It includes these envelopes because I wanted to do something professional, right? So I have envelopes that have the logo on it that I'm sending out. It's hard with my fuzzy background, but I will get that accomplished. But enjoy yourself. Be proud of yourself. You have done great things. You do matter. You do make a difference. And you don't have to do something public. I've told my son, like, his other mother is also a very ambitious woman who does a lot of public things. And so I'm like, but you don't have to be that person to make a difference. You make a difference regardless of what you do, who you are, where you are, how much money you have. If you have a big job, if you don't have a job, if you're a mother, if you're not a mother, it doesn't matter. You are making ripples in this world, and just stop and think about it today, or think about it on the 26th. Let my mother's birthday kind of be a day of reflection, a day of art, a day of expression, something. Make it a special day. And we'll talk next time. Bye bye.